wanted to share a few thoughts of my own about camp this morning. The last time that I was up at camp, the director, Teresa McDonald-Lee, told a story about one of the many thousand of school kids that come to Kintail for outdoor education programming in the summer. At the end of the kids' visit, the students were sharing what they liked most about camp, and you would have heard all sort of similar answers to that. But one of the kids' answer really stood out. She said their favorite thing was getting to see the stars for the first time. You see, they lived in a big city, and due to the large amount of light pollution in our big cities, this kid had never had the opportunity to really see the stars shining at night. And Kintail, it just happens to be a fair distance from any big urban areas, and also you've got the Lake Huron right there. So on a clear night, the stars are as bright and as beautiful can be. That kind of experience at camp is not unusual, because a lot of youth today are increasingly isolated from the natural world. We adults find that too. Whether that's because we live in urban areas or because of our busy schedules or simply because, like we all do, like to spend too much time on our screens. But as a result, when kids aren't connected to nature, they miss out on the benefits that are part of being out in nature. And they even have a name for the most extreme cases of this disconnection. It's called NDD, Nature Deficit Disorder. It's a real thing. And here's some of the symptoms of NDD. Shortened attention span, decreased problem-solving skills, obesity, and other issues with their with their emotional and physical health. And they actually have studies, though, that show that as kids increase their outdoor time, that it provides them with emotional and physical health, improved cognitive abilities. More time in nature can even reduce the risk of depression in adulthood. But I also think that there are spiritual consequences to our disconnection from nature. The Apostle Paul wrote, "Ever since the creation of the world, God's eternal power and divine nature, invisible though they are, have been seen and understood through the things God has made." In other words, what Paul's trying to say is God can be seen and understood in the beauty of God's creation. Nature is one of our teachers when it comes to God. You know, last week I talked about Jesus telling his disciples to look at the birds of the air and the lilies of the field so that they could understand the nature of God's love. But here's my absolute favorite teaching about God and nature. And it comes from the book of Job, of all sort of weird places. But Job puts it this way. Let's put it up on the screen here. "But ask the animals, and they will teach you. The birds of the air, and they will tell you. Ask the plants of the earth, and they will teach you. And the fish of the sea will declare to you. Who among all these does not know that the hand of the Lord has done this? In his hand is the life of every living thing and the breath of every human being." I love the thought of us human beings with our incredible access to information in books and the internet, being so wise we are, having to ask the groundhog to teach us about God. Or asking the robin to tell us what God is like. Or the little dandelion, and we like to run over with our lawnmowers, instructing us in God's wisdom. Or the lowly goldfish, declaring God's love to us. It's simply amazing. But that's how I feel when I am at camp, with the beauty of God's creation all around me. The trees clap their hands and the rocks cry out, "How great is our God." And so even though, we're in Lent, and this is Camp Sunday is a little deviation from our regularly scheduled Lenten program, but I believe that we have discovered today another Lenten practice for a world falling apart. That's kind of been our theme through Lent. And I think that spiritual practice is spending time in God's creation. So this week, I invite you to take a walk, maybe along the Kissing Bridge Trail. Watch out your window for the bird feeder and see the birds. Take a look for signs of spring in your garden. Stare up at the starry sky. And of course, you can always take a trip to Camp Kintail for Kirk in the Cedars, our once-a-month worship service and dinner, or down to our friends at Crieff Hills. They've got lots of trails there. And spend some time outdoors. Because as the animals and the plants and the birds and the fish will tell you, time at camp is time with God. Thanks be to God.